Good morning, everyone. This morning I ring my pilgrim's bell for our desire for peace on this earth. And with that sound, we acknowledge that these lands that we love are the ancestral lands of the Yavapai people, the Wipukepas, the Tokepayas, the Cuevkepayas, and the Yavapai. Let us now watch together photographs sent by you of places you love. I have no fixed practical aim, but am living in constant communion with nature and follow my instincts and am most intensely happy. The more planless we go, the more surely we settle down into right relations with the mountains. In these walks, there has been no human method, no law, no rule. A strong butterfly full of sunshine settles not long at any place. It goes by crooked, unanticipated paths from flower to flower. This was my method of study. I drifted about from rock to rock, from stream to stream, from grove to grove. Where night found me, there I camped. When I discovered a new plant, I sat down beside it for a minute or a day to make its acquaintance and try to hear what it had to say. I asked the boulders I met whence they came and whither they were going. Drifting about among flowers and sunshine, I am like a butterfly or bee, though not half so busy or with so sure an aim. But in the midst of these methodless rovings, I seek to spell out by close inspection things not well understood. Still, in the work of grave science, I make but little progress. If in after years I should do better in the way of exact research, then these lawless wanderings will not be without value as suggestive beginnings. I have not yet in all my wanderings found a single person so free as myself. Yet I am bound to my studies and the laws of my own life. At times, I feel as if driven with whips and ridden upon. When in the woods I sit at times for hours watching birds or squirrels or looking down into the faces of flowers without suffering any feeling of haste. Yet I am swept onward in a general current that bears on irresistibly. The world, as well as the mountains, is good to me, and my studies flow on in a wider and wider current. Don't you wish you were wild like me and as free to satisfy your love for whatever is pure and beautiful?
Well, good Earth Week morning to everyone, and welcome to Granite Peak Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Prescott, Arizona. I'm Leslie Grady, your worship associate today. We extend a warm welcome to all. We are glad you are able to join us. We hope you are in good health. We want to stay connected, so please join us for the breakout rooms after the service. This will give us time to chat with congregants in small groups. If you are joining us for the first time, please check out our website for more information about us, prescottuu.org. This is the mission statement of our congregation. We are a compassionate, spiritual community that celebrates diversity, nurtures the personal and spiritual growth of all ages, shares our gifts, promotes justice for all, and serves the world we live in. We extend our thanks to all who contribute to the presentation of our service today. Heather Knowles for technical direction, Mary Lou Prince for musical direction, and Lucy Becker for her meditation. Although we are physically apart, we are still in community, and we continue with some of our meetings and activities via the internet. So please continue to check the weekly peak, our website, and Reverend Patty's videos for announcements. Today at 3 o'clock, Patty is speaking in a Northern Arizona Climate Change Alliance event called Earth Care Sunday. The link is in the chat room, and you can register for that event. All through the coming week, I urge you to go to the NASCA website and engage in the wonderful programming they are providing. I'm very impressed by their connections with Indigenous-led movements, and we all believe this is the direction for us as we seek to heal the earth. Well, you can also join our Zoom meetings. Together, Wednesday forum, Wednesday afternoon storytelling, and Friday lunch with the minister. Find connection info and other announcements in our order of service. The Children's Faith Development will be today at 11:30 via Zoom. Contact Bev Bostrom. We begin our service in the Unitarian Universalist tradition of lighting the chalice. Today's chalice lighting is a poem that I found called Forest Delights by Belinda Stotler. I really love this poem because I really feel so much at peace and comfortable and relaxed when I'm hiking in the forest, in the woods. And so here's how this poem goes. Leaves fluttering on a gentle breeze within the forest of whispering trees make sunlight gracefully dance there, upon the ground and everywhere. Dappling streams with sparkling light, catching the colors of birds in flight, giving flowers a lovely surreal glow, rousing our spirits with nature's show. Nightfall gives the forest a mysterious allure as trees become shadows of what they were. Soon a chorus arises deep in forest thickets from the croaking frogs and chirping crickets, blending in the whippoorwill's lonely calls, with the owls echoing pleas in forest halls. As fireflies scatter light upon a dark pallet, all beneath the mystic forest starlit coverlet. Nature's melodic sounds are sure to enthrall as life's songs peal within a forest cathedral. Nature adds the wind's timbre with a breeze, or the rain's resonating rhythm through leaves, merging with rippling sounds of forest streams, all serenading restless minds into daydreams that comforts those who seek refuge there. If only they'll listen while in the forest care. Thoughts become gentle among natural sights, while our spirits entwine with forest delights, enticing us to hear life's natural gifts of mirth, inviting us to see the wondrous beauty of earth. As nature stirs feelings some cannot determine, Yet the subtle answers lie in a forest sermon, urging us to listen to instincts we once knew, to walk lightly on earth as other creatures do. We light this chalice, a symbol of our heritage, in gratitude for this beloved community. And now, our gathering words.
Good morning, everyone. As we open, let us call in the beauty of Watson Lake, Lynx Lake, Granite Mountain, the peak that has given us a name for our congregation, Mingus Mountain, Chino Valley, the Manzanita, the Ponderosa Pines, the deer and the javelinas, the mountain lions and the bobcats, the sky and its magnificent clouds. I invite you now, although I won't be able to hear you, to say the names of the places you love around you. Squirrels. Thank you, thank you. All of these places, animals and plants, have been beloved for centuries by the people we call the Yavapai, people who see this earth as the handiwork of the Creator God, Father, Mother. Let us sing together, "The earth is our mother." Now together, let us say our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant together. And now I invite you to take a breath with me. Let us breathe in and out and listen to the sound of this bell. Let us breathe in, filling our lungs with the beautiful air of Yavapai County. We are here again, carrying the joys and sorrows that accompany us as humans, those burdens and celebrations on our hearts, our feelings of loss and our feelings of happiness. Let us hold today Toni Jarnigan as she and her siblings mourn the passing of their mother. Let us hold Ken Briefer in joy as he has been able to return home. I spoke with Judy Davis in her hospital room, and she is not happy about her broken leg, and she feels the love of this community. I gave her your love, and she gives it back to you. A big joy today is that it is Eunice Lovejoy's birthday. I believe she is the oldest founding member of Granite Peak, and she is turning 97 today. Yay, Eunice Lovejoy. And we also continue to hold Janer Eldridge, Karen Anderson, Karen Doyle, Frank Malley, Ed Rosage, and Peter Eldridge. Let us hold Christy McHugh, Aaron Holloway, Dick Fox's and Thea Park's families who are grieving. Let us hold Karen Hagberg and her husband Merle, joy that he is recovering from his stroke and that his family is around him. And this week, we all heard of the death of Dante Wright. At 20 years old, another Black male died from police violence just miles down the road from the courthouse where the case in the police killing of George Floyd is being heard. Let us breathe together and let us send love to that place, but also our desires for justice. We also hold the Sikh community. Arizona's Sikh community, along with the rest of the nation, is mourning the death of 4 Sikhs who died and others who were injured Thursday after police say a man fired randomly inside and outside a FedEx ground facility in Indianapolis. At least 4 of the victims who were killed were identified as members of the Sikh community in Indiana. Let us breathe again together. What a world we live in. And today we especially consider our love of the earth. But along with holding the natural places that we love, let us ask for healing of the wounds of racism. I invite you now to say into the silence the places, the people who are on your hearts and minds. George Floyd's family, Dante Wright's family, the Ponderosa Pines. Today, instead of singing together, we're going to enter a meditation, a beautiful meditation written by and filmed by Lucy Beckner. She is the member of our congregation who dances so beautifully. This meditation, which is about 7 minutes long, will deepen our connection with the earth and with all that is on our hearts and minds. Let us enter this time of meditation together.
Today, I would like to invite you to join me in an embodied meditation practice. My hope is that this practice guides us into our bodies and centers us in this place of inner wisdom. Please know that throughout this meditation, you are welcome to join in or to simply watch and listen. I trust that you know your own body and how to care for it. If you are willing, find a comfortable place to sit with your feet planted on the floor. Close your eyes when you're ready. Begin by noticing your breath. Notice how your abdomen rises as you inhale and falls as you exhale. No need to control or change your breathing. Simply notice how it is in this moment. Notice the rhythm of the rising and falling. Now, guide your attention to your feet. Feel them planted on the floor below you. Notice, is it hard? Is it soft? Notice the connection between your feet and the floor. As you sense this connection, return to your breath. Focus on your exhalations. As you exhale, let your awareness drop down through the floor to the earth beneath. Let it travel down, down, down. the very center of the earth. Through the moist darkness, through the groundwaters, through the bedrock, and into the glowing, fiery core of the planet. Breathe. Sense the power that exists here. If you're holding any tension or fear right now, you can leave that here. Give it to the fire and let it turn into pure energy. Slowly begin to draw your attention upwards through the axis of your own earthly body. Sense your feet, your ankles, calves, knees, thighs. Notice the weight of your pelvis on the chair. Keep drawing your awareness upward through your soft belly. Feel the warm center of your navel. Let your attention travel through your spinal column, through each vertebrae, up through your neck, into your skull. As you inhale, let the energy rush through the top of your head and into the light of the sky. Soar up into the light, inhaling light, bathing your whole body in light. Imagine this light entering your body through the top of your head. Allow it to travel through your skull and down through your spine. Sense your spine, flexible and strong like a tree trunk, supporting you. If you are able, I invite you to experiment with moving your spine in a slow, undulating movement. Allow your back to arch, opening your heart towards the sky. Then curve your spine forward, bowing your head slightly towards the earth. Repeat this opening and closing if it feels good to you. Feel the flexibility within the stability of your spinal column. Find the space within you. Now return your spine to a neutral position. Return your attention to your breath. Feel your feet planted on the earth and your head open to the heavens. Remember that you are of this earth. You are here now. You belong.
Well, that was just beautiful and peaceful.
Leslie, thank you, Lucy. And also let us hold Rick Denny, who is with his sister right now, who only has a few more days on this earth. Let us hold Karen and Rick as well. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that was beautiful. I'm sure we're all feeling very relaxed and peaceful. Well, this is the time in our service when we normally gather the offering. Let us embrace the feeling of connection and community that we have when we gather each week. Let us remember that this congregation and its programs are supported by your generosity. We also give back to the greater community through our Seeds of Support program. During the month of April, our recipient is Northern Arizona Climate Change Alliance. Please read about them in your order of service and the newsletter. To give during this distance time, please go to prescottuu.org. On the bottom left side, click the word donate to contribute. The link is also available in the chat on this video. What is given in love is received in gratitude. Blessed be. Please enjoy this musical interlude.
In a poem written not long before his death, Jacob Trapp, a Unitarian Universalist minister and poet, looks back on his childhood tenderly and sees a lesson in the simplicity of the blue sky above their family farm in Michigan. A handful of sky. One day when I was 4, I set out to get my mother a handful of sky. I could see where it was on a neighborhood hill, but when I got there, it was on another hill farther away. So for that day, the project was postponed. Later, I learned that the sky does not rest on the horizon. and that if one would give someone a handful of blue sky, one must look within oneself to find it. Let us now see those handfuls of blue sky that Leslie Grady is offering her from her photographs in the world. Wonderful, wonderful. Do you remember when you fell in love? I know that some of you have been in relationship with the same person for over 60 years. That is a long time. And I imagine that you don't look back on a one-time fall in love experience. I think that our experiences with love can look a lot like the geological evidence all around us that we saw in those photographs of upheavals, times of peace, and fiery times during which ordinary materials turn into stones that become jewels and sculptures, and earth materials as our love can also disintegrate with the pressure and the heat of change. In our personal relationships, in order to keep going through inevitable change, we have to find our love for each other over and over again. And sometimes love, even when love is irreparably lost, you can still find it with another person, perhaps. Or there are ways you find to live a life full of love, alone, with wholeness, with lots of furry and human friends, or even with one good friend. Love is a great mystery. We Unitarian Universalists use the word love a lot. I wonder if you have noticed that. The campaign Standing on the Side of Love with the yellow t-shirts, which is now Side with Love, became our UU motto, something that at least showed each other where we were at a large gathering for justice. When I went to rallies in Washington, D.C., I only had to look for that sea of yellow. Our talk of love and what it means to us, how we can cultivate it, is one of the aspects that distinguishes us from other nonprofit organizations working towards justice. In the covenant of this congregation, which I lead you in each week, we begin with, love is the doctrine of this congregation. I wonder what we mean. I think that in some way we are saying that we don't have a doctrine or dogma that everyone believes, such as the creeds of other religions. But what we are left with, the work we have to do together, is love. That is the work we have. And sometimes people of other faiths ridicule Unitarian Universalism because we don't have a creed, thinking that that makes us a kind of fluffy faith. I think, though, that our replacing a creed with love makes Unitarian Universalism very hard to live up to. Love is not just what we believe to be important. It is how we are trying to be in the world. I believe that lasting transformation has to contain that element, love. On Friday morning, I wrote those very words in my journal. I believe that lasting transformation has to contain that element, love. And only a few hours later, when we brought in the mail, I found a bill from Yavapai Regional Medical Center that I thought had been resolved with the insurance after many phone calls. Both someone at the YRMC and at Blue Cross Blue Shield assured me a month ago that it had been resolved. And in the corner of the bill was the notice, that notice we hate to see, that this bill was going to be turned over to a collection agency. I was not feeling love. And I knew that it was going to be a huge effort simply not to be snippy with the people I spoke with on the phone. And I am glad that I have Unitarian Universalism to remind me of the gap between who I would like to be in the world and who I am. We all have lots of work to do. I think that as our interactions with each other and with the world become grounded in love, our world transforms. My snippiness with the woman at Blue Cross Blue Shield, even when I was saying to her, I know that this is not your fault, that snippiness could have lessened her feelings of worth. It might have given her something negative to take home to her family, into her life, make her snippy with others. It could create a negative spiral, as it can in us on those days when someone is rude to us in the supermarket. We need to continue to work on kindness, which exemplifies love. And what I'm talking about today with the earth is about falling in love. It's a little different than being kind. It is that messy exemplification of love, a love that bids us adjust ourselves to another, that can bring feelings of anger and distress. But there it is, under everything, love. A love deep enough to go through the difficult diagnoses, the changes in direction, the aging, the illnesses, a love deep enough to go through everything. That is the kind of love I believe we need to bring to this earth, a love that has staying power. I believe that it was the attachment of John Muir to the natural world, a love that was as strong as the attachment one has to a lover, that gave him the staying power and passion that has brought us the gift of our national park system. I wonder, could falling in love, seriously falling in love with the Dells, help us save them for posterity? There are so many numbers that can help us enter an argument as to whether climate change actually exists when we speak with people who speak of not believing in climate change. And I wonder if anyone has ever been changed in such arguments. For me, hearing that ponderosa pines are going to disappear because of climate change, I have found it more difficult to listen to that sound of the wind in their top branches, a sound I love so much. And I have been forcing myself to struggle back to my feelings of love, not to shut out the sound that I love so much, because it is in danger of disappearing. I wonder, where would a practice that keeps us grounding ourselves in love lead us? 4 years ago, a week or so after that election that stunned many of us into a kind of stupor, I received a call for clergy to go to Standing Rock in North Dakota near Bismarck and be there, be visible. Soon after I answered the call, I was on an airplane heading to Bismarck with a duffel bag filled with a small tent, a sleeping bag good for freezing temperatures, and an insert that would make it even warmer. And 24 hours later, after a night in a hotel with the law enforcement who were fighting the water protectors, my little tent was up. And I was working in Grandma's kitchen, a dining place led by an Indigenous elder and her daughters, a kitchen that fed hundreds of people each day and received bounties through their back door of buffalo meat and salmon from the Northwest. Each morning before dawn, I woke to prayers sung by a Lakota elder that was calling us to wake and begin our day. And all over the camp was written these words: every action is a prayer. People of all faiths were there, people who belonged to Indigenous nations who had been separated by years of ill feeling, which has often been an after effect of white settlement. They were living in peace and speaking with one another and creating alliances that would outlive the camp Oceti-Sakowin. Oceti-Sakowin means 7 council fires and contains the 7 tribes of the Sioux Nation who crossed conflicts to come together there. Conflicts that they crossed so that they could protect a river from a pipeline that they called the Black Snake. People arrived daily from all over the country and the world. The Sami people came in solidarity from Finland. And do you know that this is where Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez was when she felt a call to enter politics? She was there in November when I was. Some people who came risked their lives as water protectors, who were blasted with fire hoses by law enforcement. Others, veterinarians, set up clinics to care for the many horses at the camp. Others prepared food, and others set up tea rooms where people gathered in the late evening to talk. Everywhere in the camp, people were deeply kind with one another. They treated each other with love. When I wasn't in the kitchen chopping vegetables and cleaning up, I was helping to construct an interfaith yurt. Until then, construction projects felt as if they had that yellow beware, stay out tape all around them. But the men working on this project welcomed me and treated me with respect as I climbed high ladders and helped to put the poles in place and helped make the floor. And at the center of everything was that beautiful river that they were protecting from the black snake. Some mornings I walked with women to the river singing for a ritual of cleansing, which was also a ritual that acknowledged the power and importance of that river and our close connection, our love of the natural world, our love of the earth. Weeks later, in December, I went there again to that encampment for 2 more weeks, and the temperatures were lower, and the smoke from the fires hung in the air, making it hard for me to find my way back to my tent after hours of dancing in the evenings, a round dance with hundreds of people in a large tent. I was there when plane loads and seemingly endless lines of cars of veterans arrived from all over the country. Friendships happened easily as we helped each other navigate the darkness and the smoky air and find the tea houses that people had created out of large tents. I saw the leaders of the veterans kneel before the elders at the camp and apologize for the wrong that they had done to Indigenous people, that the armed services through the centuries had done to Indigenous people. And on that day of the ceremony, we were called to make a great circle around the camp, like that circle prophesied by Black Elk that was a sign of peace in the world. We slid on the thick layer of ice that covered all the roads within the camp to reach the outer limits of the camp. And then we all held hands and joined the circle together. And when we had made that circle, we heard a voice over a loudspeaker announcing that President Obama had stopped the pipeline. I felt as if I had been able to watch a miracle unfold from the inside, a miracle that came out of finding a way to embody that deep love of the earth. A dance broke out all over the camp, and we slid together once again into a crowd of dancing and singing praise. I think that all of us who experienced that time became witnesses to the power of humans gathering in love. This past week, at a gathering sponsored by NASCA, young and old Indigenous leaders spoke out of the depth of their love of this land. They told of projects and movements they were creating. Patrick Grady, a member of our community, he is creating relationships with the Indigenous people around us in northern Arizona. And he is going to find out how we, as a community and as individuals, can be allies and support movements underway to protect sacred lands. How can we prepare? First, we need to study the history of the Indigenous people of this land. And we need, second, to fall in love with what we want to protect together. Working to keep our earth safe is sacred work. For as we protect our earth from the effects of climate change, as we show up in support of Indigenous-led movements, possibilities open of creating relationship and possibly even reconciliation with the Indigenous peoples who have been so profoundly affected by white settlement, the settlement of my ancestors and many of yours. We must know that history, and we must stifle our habits of leading. We bring our listening ears and bring our love, because it is our deep love of the land that is our common ground. And we must find practices like the meditation we did with Lucy to nurture that love and connection. For I believe our love can be a launching pad, a beginning. Our pilgrim staff, that work will teach us what it means when we say, love is the doctrine of this congregation, and will lead us to the way of serving that will become our prayer. Together, let us bravely fall in love with the earth. Amen, and may it be so. And let us sing together one of our favorite songs about the earth that I don't think we can sing too much. And if you think so, email me. Let us sing Blue Boat Home. In July of 2017, a group of 27 Native American youth from the Havasupai, Hopi, Navajo, Quechuan, San Carlos, Apache, Tohono Pascua Yaqui, and Yavapai Prescott nations came to a consensus to form a statement. Here is an excerpt from that statement. We as Indigenous youth know that our ancestral and current lands and everything that congregates within it that sustains life, including the water, air, culturally significant plants and animals, are sacred. We will use our voice to act upon protecting our home to ensure our future generations' health, safety, and surrounding ecosystems. As spiritual people, we voice awareness about our concerns to protect our Indigenous land so that we can preserve our natural resources. Amen. And let us learn ways to be allies and support that movement. And now I invite you into the world I experienced at Standing Rock and Ocheti Shakwin, accompanied by the words of Black Elk. Then I was standing on the highest mountain of them all, and around about me was the whole hoop of the world. And while I stood there, I saw more than I can tell, and I understood more than I saw, for I was seeing in a sacred manner the shapes of all the things of the Spirit, and the shape of all shapes as they must live together like one being. And I saw that the sacred hoop of my people was one of many hoops that made one circle, wide as daylight and as starlight, and in the center grew one mighty flowering tree to shelter all the children of one mother and one father, and I saw that it was holy. And now we extinguish our chalice so that you can go into those bright rooms of conversation. And I hope that today you think about times, share with each other times when you have fallen in love with the earth. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now in just a moment, you will be invited to go off into your breakout rooms. And if you decide to stay, I will be here for a while to talk with you if any of you would like to. But I understand your desire to speak with each other.